stubs, I don't really need to take those in because the wages you said were accurately reflected. And your work search record, which is really not part of the subject of this hearing. So again, I don't really need to look at it. It's not in controversy. But the narrative statement does set forth and argue, I'll call it facts, about what happened and what you had been doing in terms of communicating with the Department of Labor. So I would include that, okay? So as I said, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Do you have any objection to this set of pages being entered into the record?
No, not until page 10. That's okay. I have no objections.
Okay, so I'm going to take 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 into the record as hearing exhibit number 2. Mm-hmm. Now, you've just referred to understanding that the $5,000 plus minus, it's actually plus, was in the alternate quarter. And we saw that in hearing exhibit 2, part of that set of documentation that was sent to you was a request for the alternate base period. Did you send that in to the department after you got this form?
Not that form, no.
Okay, why not?
Because I thought I was under the understanding that the last representative who resubmitted this application, now starting at October 3rd, was including that alternate base quarter.
Well, okay, they did include the alternate quarter, mm-hmm. but they don't consider it necessarily unless you ask for it to be considered instead of using the basic base period. Did you not understand that?
I did not understand that I had to further send that form in. I thought that was maybe just a standard procedure that form came in with the initial letter. I really thought that Jamie included that in the request of the new application.
Okay. Now let me point you to, in the file copy, pages 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and then 34 and 35. Yes.
Okay.
So what this is, it appears, is a previous monetary benefit determination you had received and that you annotated, where you did fill out the request for the reconsideration and the request for alternate base period at that time, and you made notes on the understanding the guide documentation and the understanding the enclosed forms, and you also submitted a narrative statement along with that. And this one is for the claim that was effective basically the week before. But what that did was it put you still inside the third quarter of 2022. And that appears to be what was ultimately adjusted for you later on to get you outside of that quarter so that it could be your alternate quarter. In other words, I'm taking note that this appears to be what happened in terms of how they tried to adjust it. Okay? Because you see, this says it was a claim effective September 26, 2022, with a benefit year ending October 1, 2023, And this one was mailed to you, it says, September 27, 2022. You have a note, it looks like that you received it on October 3rd, which would have been just over a week later, it looks like. And then you completed it and submitted it back to the department, according to your notes, October 26th. Am I understanding that correctly up there?
I think so.
Up at the top of page 22 are your notes, it looks like.
Completed, okay.
See that?
Yes.
Okay. And this is the one where it does not include that alternate quarter where you earn more than $5,500.
Correct.
This one, basically, because of the date of the filing, included as the base period the last 3 quarters of 2021 and the first quarter of 2022, and the alternate quarter then was the second quarter of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
But by subsequently just adjusting it to the following week, starting October 3rd, as I'm explaining, they got you out of the third quarter of 2022 so that that could be your alternate quarter, that being the last quarter you had worked in at that point, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And this one also says the rationale for not qualifying, again, was that you had not been paid at least $2,900 in one of the calendar quarters.
Right.
And then, as I said, you did ask on page 24 for your alternate base period to be used, reflecting that $5,529.89 of wages that was paid, right?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so I want to put this documentation into the record as well, pages 22, 23, 24, through 26, and then I skipped to your narrative statement at 34 and 35.
Correct.
Okay. I'd like to put these pages in. Do you have any objection?
No, I have no objection.
Okay, so I'm going to take them in and mark them as hearing exhibit number 3. And the last set of documents I'd like to review with you are at the very back of the file, pages 42 and 43. And you mentioned that this adjustment had been made on November 15th. And apparently it was when you were speaking with a human being representative. You mentioned the name Jamie. And there's a code on page 43 that suggests you were speaking with someone identified as in the system UTTJG3. That might have been that person. And it says that this claim was filed November 15th. So in other words, this seems to be when they were trying to adjust it and cancel the other claim that was effective September 26th. And they made this one effective October 3rd of 2022. You see that date there up at the top of the page.
And you're talking about page 42?
42. Up at the top of 42. You'll see it says claim date November 15, 2022. But if EFF date means effective date, I'll take note, October 3rd, 2022. And then there's your name and other information. And then on page 43 is where you see this ID code, and it also says November 15, 2022. And reporting that your last employer had been the Bethel Performing Arts Center, that you'd worked between July and October, actually this says, at that point. And it still is only capturing the base period wages, and you see that up at the top, but it allowed the possibility of the alternate corner being considered if necessary. I will take notes statutorily, that's how it works, okay? Even though it doesn't show.